Yeah, sure. So I just sent a letter to the select board and CAM, just explaining how I came up with this design. What got my wheels spinning was Dave, starting the playground project, and during that, following that process, I was just having a harder time visualizing what was happening. So I thought, well, if I'm having that problem, maybe the other residents are as well. So that would lead me to fundraise to get this is a conceptual sketch, it's not official site planning, but just to give us a starting point to like where the park is currently and where it could go in the future, and maybe, we do funding down the line. But as you can see here, I'll just go over like basically from talking to Dave, this might not be, exactly what it is, but overall what's happening right now. And that would be relocating the batting cages to behind the barn here, parking in this area, parking in there, playground in this back corner, and then parking in the back area that's been cleared of trees. And so that's the basic scope where it stands now, right, David? I don't know if there's anything else.
I have no comment.
Yeah, okay. So I kind of started there and said, okay, what's the next phase, or what's something else we could do? And the obvious step is to work with the Wildland Trust that's surrounding the property. And so I reached out to them, talked to their leader, their commission, and they were like, yeah, we do these kind of things like with parks all the time, transferring land if it makes sense. And so they're open to working with the town, so it's kind of just getting the ball rolling. And this is what I showed them, that really if there's one takeaway from my presentation here would be this left side property line. Like right now, it's kind of hard to tell because there's not a lot of action going on at the park, but in the spring when there's baseball games coming and going, we probably have when games are changing, probably between 100 and 150 cars coming in and out of there. So there's a lot of craziness. And so right now it's a single lane path here. It's kind of a choke point near the bleachers. There's some parking here, which is it's not town property. It's just been cleared over the years, and now we're using the Wildland Trust's parking, but that's not our land. And so some of this is just to kind of officially document what we're already doing. We're using their land. And so by pushing the land about 30 feet over, you could put in about 50 or so spots. You could also get handicap parking near the home plate area, which is right now there's no signage for handicap spots, and if you're a handicapped person trying to watch your kid play, you gotta park far away and get there. It's not really convenient. Same thing with the playground area. Now they'll have access to park close to it. The trailhead in the corner, which if you don't know, the Wildland Trust trail starts in this back area, so getting handicap parking back there so you can get to the trail easier. And so the main thing is this pinch point right here where there's people sitting all along this stance here, and it's not too far from the main access road. So I've seen cars that just stop suddenly. I've seen people jump out of the bathroom here, and it's so I'm trying to get this ahead of you guys because I kind of see something happening down the line, and it's well, if at least I put it forward, you guys can go with it or not, but this is what I'm seeing just as a parent, as someone that coaches. So really trying to address this area. And all these parking spots, they may be depicted as paved, but it's really just to count the parking spots. You get a visualization of I think we've totaled up 175 spots. And probably the other thing that I'm really aiming at is getting cars off of the road. So if you've gone to a Saturday, you drive down Mary's Pond Road, you probably have 50 cars parked along there. People just kind of jut out, they come in, it's kind of chaotic. And so another safety point, kids could be running around or just cars jutting out, getting hit. So clearing this up, you get better natural views. It's just a line of trees. You don't have cars coming and going. You're not running over their roots and whatnot. You get everyone in the back area. And that's really the main gist of it. I have, there's a corner here that I kind of did this for just a functionality thing where there's a weird notch here that's kind of useless for the Wildland Trust. So kind of squaring that off, giving us a little more logical flow. And then the other piece is just, if the Wildland Trust is going to work with us, hey, we're going to give you land for free, just give us parking. I think part of that would be a fair transition of trying to upgrade their space. So looking at possibly expanding a trail to the 55 plus area so the seniors can get into the park. They don't have to park there. There's grandparents that actually live over there that can just walk over. Opening another trail point here, near the playground area, so you could be at the playground, go for the small loop, come back around. Trail tails and stuff you could do there because it's a small loop. And there's also like, grants that are in the state where you can actually get like ADA gravel paths, so you could even, get this actually so people in wheelchairs could go around the small loop, and I think just kind of be a better experience for wildland trust users and the town, and try to get people away from the road and parking spots. And so this is kind of meant just to, it's not official, but it's kind of just to get the conversation going. And my thought was, I don't want to, like Dave at the October meeting mentioned, like, hey, like everyone is free to fundraise. It's, like I'm willing to take money, but I don't want to like try to fund stuff without any kind of sketch or drawing, to convince. I don't want to take people's money unless we have like a really, something that we're aiming towards. So that's what I presented to you guys. And like I said, Wildland Trust is open, and this could change. Like maybe they are agreeable to like more playground space north of this, or like some kind of bike trail, or kind of could go a lot of ways. So it's just, I want to put that out for the town.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A lovely resident called me last week in support about Nate's plan, and mentioned that I reach out to the land trust to start some early conversations. So I did that. We haven't connected yet, but what I can do, moving forward in partnership on behalf of the select board, in working with the park commission and the land trust, just start initial conversations about what would be optimal for everyone, and then obviously bring that back for consideration.
And the last thing I'll say, Cam, is that what's kind of convenient is the Roundsville family donated the park space in the 50s and the Wildland Trust, so it's the same family's legacy. So it's kind of like if you're taking from one land and adding to the other, it's the same family. So I think if they were here today, they would be like, oh, you're improving the park, that's awesome. Not like you're ruining the Wildland Trust. So.
No, that's fabulous. So we'll move forward on that as a possible project and exploring what can be done. Just somewhat deviating, but a brief update on the parks. A resident reached out asking for an update, and so the highway surveyor, the tree warden, has cleared some additional space in the back that would have happened regardless of a relocation of the playground, just to provide additional recreation space, and that looks like it's been done. The highway surveyor dug the appropriate square footage to install the playground. I think some additional loam needs to be put in place, and the creative recreation company that is doing the installation should start on the playground installation in early April. There is going to be a little bit of paving, I believe, for some parking. I don't know exactly the specific location of where that is and when that is happening, but I know that that is a spring project. That's what I know, and that's what I told the resident who reached out, so I just wanted to share that publicly since someone had a good question. It's relevant information, and so I wanted to share that. But my takeaway from this conversation is thank you very much, and I will connect with the land trust to talk about possibilities of partnership.
Awesome, thanks.
So, if I may, thanks for the email, I did receive it, great work, being collaborative with everybody and getting the money raised for this is great. Something that we really do need to take into consideration is the over 55 community. I know we've all been talking about the ball fields and the parking for the ball fields, but in your presentation tonight, you really hit home the fact that we have an older community that really abuts this property, and it would be a great opportunity for them to have a space where they could go and walk their dogs and be off of the roadways that are heavily trafficked.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was getting at, is that there might be some pushback where like people are going to come into our condo area, but I would say overall it'd be better for them to be able to use the trail space and just walk over to the park. And because the park is so youth heavy, like trying to kind of incorporate some more ability for seniors to use the space walking around.
What's interesting is something that I've recognized in other communities is they're building those senior walking areas, and they're using asphalt. One in particular I know about is in the town of Marion. They got some donations and they built the walking area around their council on aging building, or their senior center, I believe they call it. And every time you drive by there, you see the seniors that they even drive there to use that. So if that could be incorporated in through the Parks and Recreation Department, it's something that'd be an additional. I think it'd be a positive.
Sorry, I threw on there as well, just kind of like conceptually where pedestrians walk, trying to kind of define that, and that could be like an internal park loop where, you know, maybe your kid's playing ball and you're like, or practicing, you're like, I want to do something, so, you know, walk the trail, walk the circle.
Right.
So, you know, it's an infant stage, but at least just try to get the conversation going. So.
No, and the awareness is great, and I think the collaboration with the Parks Department is just as important as coming here today, yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Dave, and even just, I kind of see it more as like, you know, we're doing immediate changes right now, but it's like, even kind of tied into the master plan, where do we see the park in 10 years? Do we keep it the same? Do we want to change it? Do we kind of funnel our efforts into Dexter? You know, that's kind of like, just kind of getting everyone aligned, is kind of what I'm after.
Yeah, well, the transparency is
Yeah.
huge, you know, and having the public buy-in, and understanding that everyone's interests are being considered when making the big decisions like that. So thank you, yeah.
Yeah, I think from, you know, I put this online and there's a lot of comments, good, you know, it depends how you see them, but like, you know, with the parks especially, the user are the residents, right? It's not a fire station where the users are firemen, you know, and so I really think we want to be able to pull everyone in, especially, you know, in somewhat of a, can be divisive environment, like kind of picking something positive for everyone to come together. That's what I'm hoping we can do.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say about the social media piece of it is, it's, you know, it's social media, and it's, you know, the lack of information is sometimes not conducive to the overall positive outcome of something, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think it's just more just getting the point across, like, people have a lot of comments, and if it's like, versus the internet, if we're in a room talking about it, then we can probably be more constructive, and, you know, people care, so. But thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is a letter from Direct Young